Imagine a situation where an ordinary question can deeply hurt feelings. This is exactly what 70-year-old Kira Semenova faced when her granddaughter noticed an unusual smell coming from her. All her life, Karina was famous for her cleanliness and neatness. Daily water procedures, fresh clothes, and impeccable order in the house were her distinctive features. But now it seemed that even her beloved granddaughter began to avoid her hugs, turning away with a displeased expression on her face. That night, Karina could not hold back her tears, realizing that something had changed. Dr. Gennady Tarasov, a 77-year-old physician with over 50 years of experience working with the elderly, shares an important observation. It may seem unexpected, but many of those around us prefer to remain silent about it out of tact. Have you ever noticed that on public transport people try not to sit next to you, or your grandchildren keep their distance, or your daughter-in-law insistently opens the window when you come to visit? If these situations are familiar to you, it is probably not a coincidence. There is a concept called the smell of old age, and Dr. Tarasov claims that it is a real phenomenon. He has observed thousands of elderly patients and has come to the conclusion that almost all people over 60 do not notice changes in their body odor. However, those around them feel it, but are afraid to say it directly so as not to hurt their feelings. This means that most elderly people live with this problem without even knowing it. What is this smell, and how can you deal with it? The answers to these questions can change your life and strengthen your relationships with loved ones. A story comes to mind about a man named Fyodor Morozov, who was 73 years old and distinguished by his unusual cleanliness. Each day for him began with a mandatory shower, and his home sparkled so much that it resembled a hotel room rather than a cozy home. However, one day an incident occurred that greatly changed his familiar world. Fyodor's son brought a friend to their home, and the old man involuntarily heard the boy whisper, "I can smell the old man here." From then on, Fyodor seemed to lock himself in his room, avoiding leaving it, especially when his grandchildren came. An inexplicable fear arose in him, the fear of being rejected and facing silent condemnation. If this story worries you, or it seems that something similar is happening to you, do not despair. The reason is not at all in sloppiness or poor hygiene. It is all about the inevitable changes in our body with age, which affect even the natural body odor. But this is not a death sentence. You can get rid of it, or significantly reduce its manifestations. There is an easy and effective method that takes only 3 minutes a day and is able to reduce the so-called old man smell by almost 90%. This method has already helped thousands of people regain confidence, enjoy communicating with loved ones again, and hug their grandchildren without embarrassment. Recently, during an online consultation, the doctor spoke with 76-year-old Elena Borisova, who lives alone and also faces a similar problem, which increases her feelings of isolation and awkwardness. In Arizona, a woman shared her experiences. Every day she uses perfume that her grandchildren once really liked. But lately, when she invites them into a room, they try to leave as quickly as possible, coming up with various excuses. The doctor asked if the room was well ventilated, and Elena answered that she has to keep the windows open all the time because even she herself can't breathe seems heavy. Then it became clear that the woman, like many elderly people, was trying to mask one smell with another using aromatic products. The doctor explained softly but frankly that perfume in this situation may not help, but may even make the problem worse. After a short pause, Elena quietly asked what kind of smell it was. She emphasized that she carefully monitors hygiene, regularly washes clothes, and keeps the house tidy. This is where the essence of the problem lies. Many people live in cleanliness and order, but with age, the body begins to emit a special smell that they are not taught to recognize or eliminate. The first reaction in such a situation is the use of perfume deodorants, or air fresheners, which only mask one smell with another, as if spraying perfume in an untidy room. As a result, relatives feel awkward but prefer not to say it directly. They open windows or try to stay away. Older people feel offended and embarrassed, not understanding the reason for such behavior of their loved ones. To break the vicious circle of unpleasant odor, you must first understand the reasons for its appearance. Why does this special smell of aging arise despite regular hygiene procedures and a neat lifestyle? Many people mistakenly believe that the reason lies in insufficient cleanliness, or that it is an inevitable companion of age. However, behind the unpleasant odor are very specific biological processes, confirmed by scientific research. Understanding these processes opens the way to effective ways to solve the problem. Let's start with sweating. Funnily enough, when you're young, you sweat much more intensely, producing an average of about 1 liter of sweat per day. After you turn 60, that number drops by more than half. It would seem that a decrease in sweating should lead to a decrease in unpleasant odor. However, sweat plays an important role in removing toxins, bacteria, excess sebum, and waste products from the skin surface. When sweating decreases, these substances remain on the body, creating an ideal environment for the proliferation of odor-causing bacteria. The doctor gives an example from his practice. 74-year-old patient Mr. Donald Ray complained that in his youth, intense sweating caused him discomfort. But with age, when sweating decreased, the problem of unpleasant odor appeared. The doctor explained that the decrease in sweat secretion leads to a longer retention of odor on the skin and its absorption into clothing, which aggravates the problem. The second major problem is sebum, the natural oil produced by the skin. When you're young, its chemical composition is different, but after about age 50, it begins to contain a substance called divinonanol, an oxidized fatty acid. Young people don't have this compound, but after age 60, divinonanol levels begin to increase, peaking at age 70. This substance is largely responsible for the odor associated with aging. The problem isn't due to poor hygiene, but to the gradual changes that occur in the skin as we age. Another source of bad breath that often goes unnoticed is the oral cavity. After 60, the body produces less than half as much saliva, which not only keeps the mouth moist, but also removes bacteria. In a dry environment, microbes actively multiply, causing bad breath. As an example, we can cite the words of 63-year-old Karina. "Every time I speak, as my grandchildren take a small step back. Now I understand the reason. Dry mouth, which I did not know, causes this smell." So even with regular showers, perfumes, and mouthwashes, the unpleasant odor may persist. The main reasons are 3 main changes: decreased sweating, changes in sebum composition, and dry mouth caused by decreased saliva production. However, experience shows that there are ways to improve the situation if you know which parts of the body require special care. The author encourages viewers to take a closer look at this issue and pay attention to problem areas. Viewers find the information provided useful and ask them to leave comments to show interest and participate in the discussion. The author also invites those who have not yet subscribed to the channel to do so and turn on notifications so as not to miss important tips that can significantly improve the quality of life in adulthood. It is further emphasized that continuing to search for ineffective solutions will only lead to a waste of time and money without bringing the desired results. In contrast, a method is offered that has been proven by more than 50 years of professional practice. This method is simple and easy to use, and with a serious approach, the first positive changes can be seen in just 7 days. Moreover, with regular use for a month, the improvements will become obvious even to others. The author cites a common question from patients about the possibility of getting rid of the smell of aging and confidently answers that success depends on the right method and not on widely advertised but ineffective means. As an example, the story of 75-year-old Mr. Raymond Parker is given. He came to the clinic in a depressed state because his grandchildren avoided his room because of the unpleasant smell. However, 6 months later, Mr. Parker returned happy and reported that his grandchildren enjoyed spending time with him again. The author emphasizes the importance of the right approach and regular use of a proven method to achieve such results. To achieve such a result, you do not need to use expensive drugs or products. It is enough to start using the proposed method at home. Most patients, namely 97%, achieved noticeable changes by following 3 simple but effective rules. The first of these is to drink enough warm water. Many people wonder, is water really enough? However, experience shows that water is a powerful natural cleanser. It helps remove harmful substances through the urinary system, especially if we are talking about warm water drunk on an empty stomach. Even 1 glass can significantly reduce unpleasant odors caused by internal processes. Mrs. Gloria Adams, a patient aged 72, told about her experience. At first, drinking warm water in the morning seemed strange, but after a month, I got used to it. Now, if I skip this ritual, I feel discomfort. My skin has become softer, and my grandson has noted that I smell nice. It is recommended to drink at least 6 glasses of water during the day. For convenience, you can use the following schedule: a glass after waking up before lunch, after eating around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, before dinner, and immediately before bed. It should be remembered that tea and coffee do not have the same properties. On the contrary, they often cause dehydration. When drinking coffee, it is recommended to additionally drink a glass of water to maintain water balance. An important element on the path to freshness and energy is a leisurely walk in the sun. The author realizes that older people may object, citing limitations in movement, but we are not talking about heavy training. Just 20 minutes of leisurely walking in the soft sun is enough to feel noticeable changes. A morning or evening sunbath helps to destroy harmful microorganisms on the skin, activates the sweating process, and helps to remove toxins from the body. An example is the case of 78-year-old Mr. Leonardo Fisher, who suffered from leg pain and difficulty walking. He was advised to start with 10-minute walks around the yard every morning. After 3 weeks, he happily noted that the unpleasant skin odor had almost disappeared, and his sleep had become deep and restful. Another important rule is to regularly take a shower or bath with warm water. In the cold season, many elderly people avoid water procedures because of the cold, but this is very important for maintaining hygiene. Bathing removes bacteria and dirt, especially in hard-to-reach places. Remember that the water should not be too hot, as this removes the skin's natural protective oils and can increase unpleasant odor. The optimal water temperature is about 37 to 40 degrees. Once a week, you should allow yourself a 20-minute bath with warm water to steam the skin and deeply cleanse it of ingrained dirt. Such care helps maintain the cleanliness and freshness of the body, improving overall well-being. Patients notice that immediately after the first such bath, the skin becomes much softer and the body odor becomes less intense. If you persistently follow these 3 simple rules, you can gradually get rid of the unpleasant odor associated with age-related changes, as if it never existed. However, there is another important secret that the author is going to reveal further. Many elderly people share their surprise with me. "Doctor, I take a shower every day, but why doesn't the smell go away?" I always answer this question the same way. Which parts of the body do they pay attention to during water procedures? After many such conversations, a sad trend became clear. Most people, unfortunately, do not care about thoroughly cleaning those places that are actually the source of the smell. Most often, they take a shower for a feeling of freshness, and not to eliminate the cause of the smell. I recall the story of 70-year-old Lawrence Dean, who sincerely did not understand why his grandchildren avoided him despite washing him every day. Only when he was shown the areas of the body that he forgot to wash did he understand the real reason. Therefore, it is important to remember that in 90% of cases, the unpleasant odor associated with old age comes from just 3 main areas of the body. If you neglect them, neither frequent showering nor other measures will help get rid of the smell. The first problem area is skin folds. These include the neck and armpits, which require special attention and thorough cleansing. The areas under the breasts, around the navel, in the groin, as well as in the subcutaneous pits and inner folds of the elbows, have one property in common. They retain sweat, sebum, and dead skin cells. This creates ideal conditions for the reproduction of bacteria. Especially older people often forget to pay attention to such areas, especially the back of the neck and areas behind the ears. It is in these places that an unpleasant odor occurs, although they are rarely thoroughly cleaned. To treat such areas of the body, it is recommended to use a soft washcloth or a gentle bath sponge and gently wipe the skin without excessive pressure. Strong friction is absolutely not necessary because skin prone to aging becomes very sensitive and easily injured. The second most important area for careful care is the hairy areas, including the scalp, armpits, and chest. These areas tend to have a lot of sweat and sebum, which creates a favorable environment for bacteria. The scalp in particular is often under-cleansed, as many limit themselves to just applying shampoo, forgetting that massage plays a key role in removing impurities. The doctor tells the story of 65-year-old Rita Yules, who was advised to increase the time of scalp massage to at least 2 minutes with each wash, and to slow down the procedure. 2 weeks later, she was amazed by the result. The smell had completely disappeared. The doctor even noted that the patient's grandson remarked, "You smell like a bakery." Men with hair should remember this advice to keep their skin fresh and healthy. When caring for your chest and stomach, you should wash these areas thoroughly with soap, and after water procedures, be sure to pay attention to drying them. The third important area is areas with active sweating, such as hands, feet, and especially the spaces between the fingers. Many are surprised to learn that the cause of unpleasant body odor is not always in the armpits. Very often, the feet are to blame, which are in socks and shoes all day. After washing, you need to thoroughly rinse and dry the space between the fingers before putting on clean socks. It is recommended to choose cotton models and change them daily. If possible, it is advisable to alternate shoes to allow them to dry and air out. To clean difficult areas on the back, you can use a brush with a long handle or wrap a towel around your hand. Sweating on the back can soak into clothing and cause a persistent, unpleasant odor. When caring for these 3 areas, it is important to stick to using warm but not hot water, as excessively hot water removes the skin's natural protection and can increase the unpleasant odor, causing dryness and flaking. For washing, it is better to choose a mild soap without fragrances. After a shower, it is worth applying a light moisturizer, especially in the cold season, when the skin is prone to overdrying. Remembering the words of 70-year-old Elena Borisova, who said that she did not believe in the simple method of wiping these places, it becomes clear how important proper and thorough care is. Perhaps something should be changed, because I tried it and immediately noticed a change in my body odor. It became less noticeable, and my grandson began to hug me tighter without wincing. Following these tips, you can see significant changes in just 7 days. It's not just about the appearance of your skin and smell, but also about how others perceive you, their facial expressions, and the closeness of your relationships with loved ones. Now it's important to pay special attention to another important factor: your diet and daily habits. If someone thinks that just taking a shower is enough to get rid of the unpleasant smell, he misses an important aspect of solving this problem. One day, the author received a letter from a 69-year-old resident of Northern California, Mr. Wendell Craig, in which he wrote, "Doctor, I have been trying to follow your advice on proper showering, and yes, the situation has improved. But why do I still notice the smell from time to time?" This is a very common question that patients often ask. Besides hygiene, what else can be done? The answer is quite simple. There are additional measures that are related to what is on the kitchen shelves, in the pantry and refrigerator, as well as what a person eats every day. Few people realize that the chosen products affect body odor much more than is commonly thought. Everything that enters the body is processed by the liver, kidneys, and sweat glands, and this is what the final result depends on. Proper nutrition directly affects the condition of the skin and helps cleanse the body from the inside. However, if you eat the wrong foods, even the most expensive perfumes will not be able to completely hide the unpleasant odor. In the future, we will analyze which foods should be excluded from the diet, and which, on the contrary, should be added to feel lightness, cleanliness, and health every day. In addition, simple methods for introducing these healthy habits into everyday life will be offered, which do not require serious changes in the daily routine. The author expresses deep gratitude to everyone who continues to follow the publications and cares about their health. If you found the ideas presented useful, please leave a comment to understand that the topic remains in demand. New viewers are advised to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so as not to miss the next releases, which will present practical and proven advice. These recommendations have been collected over many years of work with thousands of elderly people. At a recent seminar on the health of older people, a fairly common question was asked by 66-year-old Daniel Foster. He said, "I have been eating garlic since I was young. Does that mean I will smell bad?" This is a common concern. The answer is that in the short term, the smell may indeed appear. But over time, the problem disappears completely. It is true that foods like garlic, onions, and hot spices may cause short-term discomfort immediately after consumption. However, over time, they help cleanse the body thanks to their high levels of antioxidants. It is important to understand that as we age, our bodies undergo oxidation processes, which are one of the main causes of the characteristic odor associated with aging. Therefore, if your goal is to eliminate this odor radically, you need to increase the proportion of foods rich in antioxidants. Although this concept may seem incomprehensible, antioxidants are present in everyday foods: tomatoes, apples, strawberries, brown rice, and buckwheat. In general, foods with red and purple shades are especially rich in these beneficial elements. These substances help slow down the aging process and gradually reduce unpleasant body odor over time. For example, we can tell the story of 74-year-old Janice Morgan, who was advised to eat 1 apple and a few slices of tomato daily. 2 months later, she returned with a beaming smile and shared her joy. "My grandson hugged me longer than usual and did not pull away, even said that I smelled like an orchard." To freshen your breath and improve your overall well-being, you should pay attention to the consumption of juicy fruits and vegetables, such as watermelons, pears, cucumbers, and tomatoes. These natural gifts help cleanse the body, removing harmful substances. If eating enough fresh fruit seems too difficult, you can start your morning with a glass of smoothie. This drink is easily digestible and can significantly improve your breath after just a few weeks. An important aspect, along with proper nutrition, is oral care. Regularly brushing your teeth 3 times a day is a necessary and useful step, but often it is not enough. The main source of bad breath is often the tongue, where millions of germs accumulate. A simple toothbrush is not able to completely eliminate them, and in such cases the most effective remedy is a tongue scraper, which can be purchased at any pharmacy. Daily use of a scraper will bring noticeable freshness to your breath. According to 70-year-old Catherine Lee, at first using a scraper causes unusual sensations. But after a few days, there is a feeling of cleanliness in the mouth, and the uncertainty when communicating with loved ones disappears. After eating, it is useful to chew sugar-free gum, especially with xylitol. This helps stimulate the production of saliva, which is especially important for older people who experience dry mouth, which often causes unpleasant odor. Do not forget about the influence of drinks such as coffee, tea, and alcohol. These products have a dehydrating effect and can increase the retention of unpleasant odors in the body. Alcohol, in turn, promotes the formation of acetaldehyde, a substance that gives sweat a specific odor. Those who love coffee are advised to limit consumption to a maximum of 1 or 2 cups per day to avoid increasing odor and discomfort. Proper care and a little effort will help maintain fresh breath and self-confidence in any situation. It is recommended to compensate for fluid intake with sufficient amounts of water by drinking cups a day. It is better to reduce alcohol consumption or eliminate it from the diet altogether. Instead of strong teas, it is worth choosing lighter drinks such as barley tea. We must not forget about the benefits of fiber, especially in older people, who often face a delicate problem: constipation. When waste products accumulate in the intestines, harmful substances can be reabsorbed into the blood and excreted through the skin, which leads to the appearance of an unpleasant body odor. It is recommended to enrich the menu with brown rice, oatmeal, leafy greens, and root vegetables. A bowl of porridge or light vegetable soup will be a great start to the day. As a clear example, we can cite the story of 70-year-old Mrs. Donna Ray, who suffered from constipation for 30 years. Just 2 months after she began eating brown rice in the morning, the problem disappeared. Her skin began to look healthy, and according to her, her body odor changed for the better. It is worth remembering that you do not need to change all your habits at once. It is enough to choose 1 or 2 small changes and stick to them for a month to see real results. Positive changes will affect not only body odor, but also the attitude of others, their desire to be near you, and will also give you self-confidence. It is important to note one detail that is often overlooked. Clothing and personal belongings also play a role in the overall perception of a person. The cleanliness of personal belongings and the environment has a significant impact on the appearance of individual odor. With age, simple daily washing is sometimes not enough. If a person continues to wear clothes that are soaked with odors or sleeps on bedding that has absorbed sweat for several days. One case from Oregon involving 76-year-old Evelyn Moore illustrates this well. Despite careful hygiene and proper nutrition, her loved ones avoided contact with her because of her habit of repeatedly wearing the same sweaters and pajamas in order to wash things less often. These items of clothing collected sweat and sebum, causing an unpleasant odor that Evelyn herself did not notice. To improve the situation, it is important to change your underwear every day, even at home, giving preference to natural materials such as cotton, which is breathable and absorbs moisture. Synthetic fabrics should be avoided, as they retain sweat and quickly become a source of unpleasant odor. Clothes worn during the day, especially in hot weather, must be washed after each use. Particular attention should be paid to the bed, because most of us sleep from 7 to 8 hours a day. The body continues to secrete sweat and get rid of dead skin cells even during rest. If bed linen is not washed at least once a week, it can turn into an excellent environment for the spread of unpleasant odor and bacteria. Considering the proliferation of bacteria that cause unpleasant odors, it is important to create optimal conditions to prevent them. After washing, it is better to dry clothes in the sun, as the sun's rays have a natural antiseptic effect. Particular attention should be paid to hair products. They should be changed at least twice a week due to the constant release of sebum, as well as hair and scalp oils. If pillows or blankets are used for more than 2 years, it is necessary to think about purchasing new ones as saving on health and comfort is unacceptable. Shoes and socks require special care, as there are many sweat glands on the feet. If a person constantly wears the same pair of shoes, the smell of sweat will definitely be absorbed into the insoles and will be noticeable immediately upon entering the room. It is recommended to have 2 or 3 pairs of shoes in stock and alternate them. In the evening, you can sprinkle your shoes with a small amount of baking soda, which perfectly absorbs moisture. You should give preference to cotton socks. Change them every day and avoid wearing damp products. It is important to ensure high-quality ventilation in the house, as a closed space absorbs various odors emanating from the body, interior, and food. It is better to open the windows for at least 10 minutes twice a day, morning and evening, regardless of the weather. Fresh air not only refreshes the environment, but also has a positive effect on the general condition. Mood is highly dependent on the air quality, especially when there is no good ventilation in the bathroom or kitchen. In such cases, you can put a small container of vinegar or leave an open pack of baking soda, which are great at eliminating unpleasant odors. In conclusion, it is worth noting that the appearance of a characteristic odor with age is associated not only with natural processes in the body, but also with a combination of different factors. This is the accumulation of sweat, dirty clothes, worn-out bed linen, sloppy shoes, and lack of proper ventilation. However, you can fix this problem without spending a lot of money. Drinking enough water, taking leisurely walks in the sun, carefully cleaning areas with increased sweating, eating foods rich in antioxidants, brushing your teeth and mouth, changing clothes regularly, washing your bed linen weekly, and airing out your rooms daily are simple rules that help get rid of unwanted odor. It's not just about your comfort, but also about creating a pleasant atmosphere for relatives. This makes it possible to hug your grandchildren without embarrassment, without causing them discomfort, to go outside with confidence and with a sincere smile on your face. All this becomes achievable if you follow simple hygiene standards and keep your home fresh.